going to brush over maps, but realistically, it's hard to tell at the moment. I just want to touch on bringing Hacienda in. I'm happy that they've done that because it shows their willingness to try things already. We know that the map pool is going to be reduced, but I just wanted to talk to you about maybe having a larger map pool and potentially changing the veto process. So a lot of pros have said, okay, but you can't have too large of a map pool, or it negates the veto process because there's still maps left and like spare. Why don't we do what Counter-Strike do? And they have like a double veto, don't they? They have like a you ban, we pick, you ban, we pick, you ban, but they ban a couple. It just means that if there is so many more maps, that pros need to make their map pool fairly deep. I'm all for that personally. Yeah,
it's this discussion, I mean, has been brought up for years now. And obviously with vetoes being used, like last year, it's a hard discussion to have because it's a matter of, okay, what's the most competitive and what do fans want to see? Because granted, last year, it was kind of a combination of both, to where the pros were starting to think that it was stale. Because, they would only play certain maps. Like, I mean, let's be honest, right? There were certain CTF maps that nobody wanted to play. Out of the three, there was only one. It was only our boards, like hardly anybody.
Did TK not play Flag Tower all year?
The fact that some of those things were available is kind of crazy, right? But at the same time, to me, I don't want to cater to what is fun for a fan to watch. To me, what is interesting is that the game should do that, right? Like the competitiveness of the game is what should draw the viewers, not the exciting or the bright maps or the interesting kills that we bring up, right? It should be the game itself. It shouldn't be the additives to it that make a fan want to watch. It should be the competitiveness, and that's the thing that I think that Counter-Strike succeeds in quite a bit. Granted, it is, I don't want to say it's easier, but it is nicer, right? That you only have one game mode to worry about compared to the three that Call of Duty has to deal with and trying to figure out, how often are we seeing this map? Do we really want to see Hacienda played, or not even Hacienda? Well, it's this map that's using all three. Arsenal. Do you really want to see Arsenal 3 times in a row every tournament for, all of Championship Sunday or all throughout, Vegas? Or
I just don't want to have the same as last year where we had literally 3 maps. That's what.
But I will say, I think vetoes 100% are the way to go for future. I think that are the way to go. I think without it, it makes the esport a lot more random, and randomness and esports do not coexist at all. But yeah, I would like to see maybe a little bit more than 4 maps, if possible.
Yeah, same.
That would be an ideal thing for me, at least. But I do want to see the most competitive maps played. So if that means that we only have 4 maps that are played, but they are the most competitive 4 maps that we could play and the other ones aren't viable, I'm down for that as well. But it is a very delicate and hard process to decide that. That's for sure. Because I've been seeing a lot of people say, we're really playing Summit and firing range, and they go and play Summit. They're like, that wasn't as bad as we thought, right? Like a lot of people were saying, oh my gosh, can't wait to see how Slums play. Slums, from a lot of pros perspective, not at all fun to play.
Which is such a shame. I'm so disappointed.
It really is. I was like super excited to finally be able to cast Slums and just see how that would play out, but it doesn't seem as if that's what the pros are in line with. But like I said, but to a point, visually, Slums is amazing. But from a competitive aspect, if it's not good for the players, they're not going to be something they enjoy and feel as if it should be in the game, then it shouldn't be in the game.
I think that's what 5v5's done, though, isn't it? That classic map that worked really well for 4v4, you add 2 more people on that map and it becomes hectic.
Right.
That's unfortunately the issue with that one. Quickly brushing over Scorestreaks, any concerns from your end on that one? Because I think with the introduction of having the Helion Savo, the rocket launcher this year, we typically haven't had anything like that in competitive for a while.
Right.
How much do you think that's going to affect what Scorestreaks people use? Because a lot of people were saying initially, oh my god, why are they allowed the attack chopper? Why are they allowed sniper's nest? These things are really, really powerful. But if the rocket launcher is allowed, then suddenly people aren't going to be using that because it gets shut down in 2 shots. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this. It does seem as if most pros are leaning towards the ones you can't shoot down, so Hellstorm, Lightning Strike, that sort of thing. And also, there seems to be a bit of an issue surrounding the Dart and the RCXD, a little bit easy to get. We definitely need to see some tweaks on the Scorestreaks, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. I think you covered it really well. I think as far as, some of the oddities that people think are in the game, like, you're probably not going to see those be used because in the back of the minds, like, there's probably going to be, for a very long while, at least one player on a team who runs a class that has a launcher on it, just in case that happens to be a thing, which like I said, I think that's going to counteract a lot of the pro strategies. For the most part, I don't think we're going to see that. Yeah. But I definitely agree. I've been seeing a lot of players, talking scrims, especially saying RCXDs, darts, etc. Maybe a little bit too early of an earn rate. I think they definitely need to be tweaked.
They just nerfed the dart as well. No, sorry, they buffed the dart. So I think it's more powerful now, yeah.
But I'm not too worried about things like the sniper's nest, the attack helicopter, just because, like I said, since the launcher's in it, it doesn't really take that much. And like I said, I guarantee there's going to be one player who has a class set up for that, ready to go whenever. But I don't think it's going to play as much as I think quite a few people might think.
No. I think a lot of people sort of got a little bit too excited with that one. Okay, we're going to wrap this up in a second, Lando. I'm going to ask you finally, this is a very difficult question. If you could change,
I'm ready.
If you could change one thing about the rule set, what would you change?
Oh gosh. Here we go. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a really difficult question.
I told you.
I mean, it's a hard right because my immediate thought was something related to stuns. Yet I feel like there has to be a patch coming with stuns. I would say maybe this is difficult, Tunn. Jeez, man.
I'm throwing you on the spot. I'll let you think about it while we talk about this, because I wanted to talk about equipment and I completely forgot about this. There seems to be a bit of an issue, and I'm concerned about time here because we've been talking for 25 minutes longer. But at the same time, there's just so much to talk about with the rule set. It's crazy. So the thing is with equipment is one of the biggest issues for me is that specialist equipment doesn't cost you a single point and you pick 10, but if you want to use a stun or a grenade, it does. Does that need to change for you? Because for me, it 100% needs to change. I think you should definitely be charged for using a powerful thing. Like, it just makes sense.
I'll be honest, for that 5 seconds I was trying to play devil's advocate, couldn't do it. I really couldn't think of anything that would lead me to believe otherwise. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think those two need to be on the same wavelength. And, like I said, with certain things that are in the game, like we talk about like reactive core, right? The fact that you don't have to do anything, nothing to get that is pretty crazy. So, but yeah, I definitely agree. I think they should at least fall in line with the stuns, the nades, et cetera, that follow through. Because if not, it's like you're basically saying, hey, we don't want you to use these certain things in the game. Yet they're used in the exact same slot. So why aren't they balanced in that way? But I think that'll probably be hopefully involved within the following weeks.
Yeah, you would hope so. I'm going to go back to the question then, Lando, what we were moving. I learned to first get Talk the hell out of there. I'd prefer to get Talk out than Ajax, put it that way. I think... Yeah. Ajax is inevitably, and this was my first argument about him, he's inevitably going to get nerfed. So I'm actually all right with them for now, as long as he does get nerfed. But I need Talk out, man. Like, it just, for me, I know I was talking about you actually have to do something, but do you really have to do something? Literally walk up to a small door and press and put some stuff down. I don't think that takes really much smarts, does it? Let's be honest. So for me, Talk out would be my main thing that needs to go.
Yeah, I understand that. I will say though, like generally the reason why I'm having such a hard time coming up with an answer isn't necessarily because there's so many things. To me, it's because like I actually kind of like where the rule set was. Like I was a person who was a decent fan of all the things that were changed, all the things that were taken out, because I'm a person who wants to see as much regular game content and competitive as possible, as long as it works. I will preface that. As long as it works, I don't want to stress it too much because I think competitive comes first when it comes to a number of different things. I don't want to see randomness be involved whatsoever. But I will say, as of right now, and this is a temporary thing, until stuns are tweaked, I don't see how that should be in the game at all. Because right now, I'm not going to list a number of different things. Right, you're stunned for 5 seconds. You can no longer prone. I don't think you can heal, which is another big thing. And then along with that, you also have a random spray pattern where I think it was Silly who was tweeting out saying, "Hey, if you aim your stick to the up right hand corner, up left hand corner, you can somehow have somewhat of a spray pattern." But the fact that those things do so much damage right now,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's something to me where I would like to see it be. I don't know, not because I don't want to see it taken out, but maybe currently gentlemen's agreements, just because it's just way too powerful, and I don't think it's going to be nearly as that as the game progresses. So.
Yeah, but I think that it needs to be you need to have something to break setups.
So absolutely, you do.
You have to have those tacticals in
there.
All
right, Tunn, I thought of it. I thought of what I want, okay? Not anything taken out. Where are smokes at? Where are the smokes at, man?
I knew it was coming.
What is the deal?
Yes, they need to come back. That's it.
They're in blackout, for God's sake. They're in blackout. I want to see smokes and blackouts for it. not that I'm not trying to say that there's no reason why they shouldn't be, but
yeah,
let's be real. Like search and destroy, when it comes in multitude of different things, like imagine having the ability to, on certain bomb sites, like to place a smoke down and then to use your specialist along with it is such a great strategy. I don't know. I just think smokes are a great thing in the game. I think they succeed in search and destroy based, esports around the world, especially in Counter-Strike, like how useful they are. And with teams starting to gain analysts, right, especially Evil Geniuses, known for Bevels last year. Like there's a lot of teams who are starting to kind of get those over time. I think they're going to be very useful when it comes down to those strategies, and that only makes the game, to me, more and more competitive. So that's the number one thing that I would see, or that I want to see in the game, would be smokes. Not necessarily that was related to the question, but I just had to get that out there.
It's all right. I'll let you off on this one.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think we'll have to end it there because we've nearly been talking for 30 minutes now. It's crazy. You know what the positive of this? This is definitely going into 2 videos.
There you go.
There's so much to talk about. Overall, though, I'm sort of with you. I'm relatively happy about it. I think a lot of people were expecting the perfect rule set out of the block, and that was never going to happen. There's always going to be things that people aren't happy with. There's always going to be things that the scene disagrees with.
Yeah,
it happens, but this is V1. We've got time to change things. Overall, as a core, I think it's good. There is things that I have problems with, but these things could be tweaked. These things could be changed. The game,
100%.
It's not even just the first rule set. The game hasn't been out a month yet.
Yeah,
we don't know what level they have seen in terms of their numbers, of what's really doing much. I mean, one thing I did spot in the patch is they said that no particular weapon is really catching their eye in terms of stats. How is the ICR not above and beyond? Like looking at their stats, thinking, "Oh, the ICR."
I will say in competitive though, that's like the bad ox is really kind of dominating the meta.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I understand, public to competitive is much different, but I will relate everyone whenever you are about, oh my gosh, this needs to be changed. Why is this in the game? Why? Let's think back to what everyone's thoughts were when 5v5 was originally introduced. Oh my God, this is terrible. Oh my gosh, like why is this even a thing? This is going to be way too chaotic. And I understand those reasonings, but let's also keep in mind what everyone's thoughts are about it now. Like everyone's kind of cool with it. Like pros are like, yeah, I can kind of get this. I'd love to have an extra team. I think this would be cool. I'll be honest, my opinions have totally changed as well. And that's the thing that we need to keep in mind, is that it's not always, your first initial, this needs to be out of the game, let's get rid of it. It's let's see how it works, and then later on start to diminish it. Because if we start to have so many things taken out of the game, we're going to have another year where it's like, 2 weapons, 3 maps, go at it, guys. Like, and there's nothing really that's too interesting about watching the game. So.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and for the short talk that we've had here.
The podcast that we just formed.
No, it's like a seminar basically. We're just talking about anything for half an hour. We do well at talking. It's a good job, really, Lando. It is our job. But
I think so. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. Subscribe to the channel as well if you could, and also follow Lando below. I swear I'll put your Twitter in if I remember Lando. But
appreciate it, buddy. Follow.
Yeah, of course. But thank you very much for coming on, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.